let's end, Charles, with Worldcoin.
We will. Just before we do, I'm just going to read a little bit of the statement that David Lammy has just put out about India and Pakistan, because it bears great relation to what Vanessa's just been talking about and I would say, the sort of double standards that he and the UK government applies. He talks about the government urging India and Pakistan to show restraint and to engage in direct dialogue to find a swift diplomatic path forward, and that he's made clear to his counterparts that if this escalates further, nobody wins. So that's his position on India and Pakistan. Where is he when Israel and Gaza is concerned, would be my question, just to finish that off. But yes, we now go to technology, of course, always related in some sense to Israel. But in this instance, really one of the great tech cons in which we're supposed to surrender to the belief that machines will control humans. And this rumbles on. This time we take a look at Tools for Humanity, the organization which has just launched its latest scam in the United States. On screen in a second will be the promotional video designed to encourage people to hand over their biometric data by dealing with this little white ball. And as you see, it attracts a very cheery and diverse folk. Now, one of the brains behind this is apparently Sam Altman, who is also credited with creating the OpenAI platform ChatGPT, which is directly relevant to the scheme being run here. The premise being that in a world of generative AI, it is not possible to tell what is human and what is not, which is where Tools for Humanity comes in. At this point, I should say that if this makes no sense to you, then firstly, you're not the only one. And secondly, you should most certainly listen to the first of the Jerm Warfare podcasts from Monday night about exactly this topic, and there'll be a link in the show notes. But as reported by Reuters a couple of years ago, and similar to the way in which people were convinced to take injections by being offered hamburgers, the incentive here is that if you submit your biometric data, you may be credited with Worldcoin, a type of cryptocurrency which may, at some point, be worth something. So there are a lot of conditionals here, but that's not deterred the gullible from squaring up to these machines. This is what they look like, and the Tools for Humanity cast it as their signature gizmo, describing it as being a custom, state-of-the-art hardware device built for the Worldcoin project to verify humanness and uniqueness in a secure and privacy-preserving way. Now, if that sounds like an immensely unlikely promise, then I wonder if a clip from their launch will reassure you.
Okay, let's give it a spin.
Nothing like a live demo here. So he just scanned his QR code from his World app. That'll connect the orb with his device, and that starts the process. All right, so he's a little bit too far from the orb. It asks him to move a little bit closer. Try one more time. The stage lights might be affecting the cameras we're afraid of, but it'll work. Perfect. Bear with us here. Nothing like a live demo.
Live demos.
All right,
Let's go.
here we go.
Okay.
All right. Scan his QR code, so he's paired the orb with his phone. All right, so it's asking him to move a little bit closer because he's standing too far away. And you don't have to be in the exact position, but just approximately right. So now it knows he's in the right position. But it sees something. So the orb detected something was covering his face, and he forgot to remove his glasses. So he just took those off. And now the orb can clearly see his face and his eyes, and should just take a few seconds to finish its process. There we go. Simple as that.
Wow.
Indeed, simple as that. And how very apt that the title for the event was At Last. Anyway, from the incessant applause, it seems that the audience were also unable to think of a more simple method for determining whether or not a human is human. So a pointless exercise for the user, perhaps, but it does gift to World, as it's now called, and to Tools for Humanity, an extraordinary amount of information. And this is information which can absolutely be used against the very same user. Now, as pointed out on very many occasions by UK Column, not only does this technology not do what it purports to do, it's also not secure. And it is, of course, security which is used as one of the prime lures. So we'll just look at a slide now from TechCrunch a couple of years ago, reporting on the password theft of the so-called Orb operators. Interestingly, the article goes on to describe the basis of the pyramid scheme itself, saying that those interested must first visit an Orb operator who are recruited and contracted by Worldcoin and earn money for every person they sign up. Now, whilst Americans may begin queuing up in their droves, there is now a groundswell of pushback elsewhere in the world, something which was not mentioned at last week's launch event. And here we see reporting from Kenya with news of a recent High Court decision against Worldcoin. Now, I've mentioned this case previously, which was brought by the Katiba Institute, supported by the International Commission of Jurists, and the ICJ put out a statement which says ICJ Kenya welcomes today's landmark judgment declaring the collection, processing and transfer of biometric data by Worldcoin as unlawful and unconstitutional. Now, they went on to order the following, which was, my apologies, I've gone on too far. They ordered Worldcoin there's a prohibition on data collection, the permanent deletion of data, and a revocation of data processing certificate. So, in effect, they have shut down Tools for Humanity in the country, which should just go to show that pushback is always worth it. And I think the only thing to add is that Amnesty also put out a statement, in effect, supporting this decision, but also saying that in the pipeline there's action to be taken against Meta for its abuse of Facebook in the sense that they put out inflammatory content with regard to tensions in Ethiopia, which they say has pushed people towards violence that they might not otherwise have met. So, as I say, this is a step absolutely in the right direction against the technology that not only doesn't actually work, but that really has no place in our lives.
And maybe something we'll discuss in extra is why it seems to be only the global south that's pushing back against this stuff.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you, Charles. Thank you to Vanessa and Sandy for joining us, and for you for watching. Join us in a couple of minutes for extra if you're a UK Column member. If you're not a UK Column member, then please consider joining, because we do need your ongoing support. So see you in a few minutes in extra. Otherwise, enjoy the Jerm warfare tonight, interview tomorrow, and we'll be back on Friday with more news. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.